Stuck home papers. I kicked him in the head by accident.
With the film series spanning from 2012 to the present, there's been a lot that has happened with the Hunger Games franchise, with who has been involved and how the film series was created. Today we wanted to go behind the scenes and figure out how they made the story from novel to screen, spanning the first 3 films. So let's go ahead and jump right into it.
I'm stuck in this all day long.
Shout out to Juliana for making these coats so hot.
And just having my pants around my ankles outside, I was like, I don't even care anymore. My smile is so ingenuine. People are gonna think that I'm bleeding.
But before we get into more of these moments, some trivia for you. Of course we know that The Hunger Games is based on the trilogy of the same name from the book series by Suzanne Collins. But what year was the first book published? Leave your answers in the comments down below and stick around to the end of the video to find out if your answer was correct. With a budget of just under $80 million, this first film scored almost $700 million in the box office, which is fairly close to $1 billion, so it's clear that fans really like the franchise. Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson star in this film, and it was noted that Lawrence had to dye her hair for the first installment. Ross, director and writer of the project, had many conversations with Collins about how to adapt the story, and was fascinated by how ancient Roman culture inspired the books. Collins adapted the novel for the film herself. The screenplay remains extremely faithful to the original novel, with Ross saying he felt the only way to make the film really successful was to be totally subjective, echoing Collins' presentation of the novel in the first person present.
But if I could, I'd bet on you.
Of course, with this film, there were a lot of fight sequences using arrows and choreography with the fight scenes, and we get to see how Lawrence trained for this role.
Action. Action. Ooh, good one. Okay. Oh, that's it. Good. That's it.
Moving on to The Hunger Games Catching Fire, Lawrence returns as Katniss Everdeen, and her character experiencing post-traumatic stress as she tries to go back to a semi-normal life in District 12. We got to hear from some of the cast regarding the theatrical release and Francis Lawrence.
I think it's going to be really interesting because I've always been a huge fan of IMAX.
IMAX is just such an immersive format
So to be able to kind of open the world up in a much bigger way.
But real quick, make sure you guys check out our Instagram page linked down in the description. There's a ton of interview moments and memes, so make sure you check it out and give us a follow. And lastly, we can talk about the third and technically fourth film, Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. Starting with Part 1, Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, and Liam Hemsworth return to reprise their characters and talk about bits and pieces from the film.
Budget for this movie is reported
Astronomical.
It's so big. I feel like it's your fault. This is the first time
Why?
you wore a wig.
Nautical.
I feel like it's Josh's fault for having to thin down with the CGI.
And not want to do it with a diet.
And not wanting to do it.
Exactly.
I'd
It was
actually
my
blame
fault. It was my
I
fault.
know. I got wigged. I cut off all my hair.
Interestingly enough, this film had a way higher budget of $140 million, but still grossing over $800 million. One of the reasons was Lawrence had to wear a wig. A lot of the pressure to help deliver those returns rests on the 23-year-old shoulders of Lawrence, who isn't rattled by much.
Oh, parting shot. Dinky, dinky. Take it easy. Thanks, Ed.
You promised you'd save Peter.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, look at that. Look at that one. Look at the way that one. Look at it.
Though she admits it's a bit odd to be continuing to play Katniss at the age of 17. She's a very old 17 though, the actress adds with a laugh in an interview from the Atlanta set of the two Mockingjay movies, which were shot back to back.
There's layers of different types of burns even. I mean, that's how we tried to tell our part of the story, was layering the different trauma and wounds, very much basing it on real life reference.
Lastly, moving on to Mockingjay Part 2, the same stars sit down again to talk about the continuation.
And as you can see, we find a way to make it all enjoyable.
It's challenging and hard, and then you go into press turn, it's challenging and hard. I guess that's my answer.
No, I guess it's all kind of challenging and hard.
That's gonna be the subtitle for this
Yeah, it's
interview.
lovely. We're having a blast. You can't say challenging and hard while we're all cracking up.
Oh, it is. It's fun.
This part is challenging right now.
Talking about direction for the last two parts, Francis explains, I felt a different kind of pressure, he explains. On the Hunger Games Catching Fire, I had to prove myself a little bit as the new guy in the game. It was a relief that it was received well by fans. Even though I was relieved, it was only momentary. It sort of set the bar higher for the next one. Francis Lawrence returned as the director for Part 2. And we can also talk about the future of this franchise, including The Hunger Games, The Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes, a prequel film, a dystopian science fiction film directed by Francis Lawrence from a script by Michael Leslie and Michael Arndt.
I'll wrap around first, and I'll say Dill, she looks, and I'll come back,
Come around,
and I'll say Reaper,
Reaper.
and then at that point,
Then you duck away from Reaper,
Yeah.
right?
And then I back up again.
and then she crosses
And then
me.
and then I keep going back until the beginning.
Yeah.
Development of this film started in 2017 when Lionsgate expressed interest in spin-offs. Of course, they were able to reach out to people to explore the concept and come up with something that would fit the Hunger Games world. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is scheduled to be released in theaters on November 17th.
Strange things did happen here. No stranger would it be if we met up at midnight in the hanging tree.
And as far as the answer to our trivia question, the Hunger Games book was first published in 2008, with the next one just a year later and Mockingjay another year later. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was published in 2020. But we wanted to turn this around to you guys. Which film was your favorite of all three of these? And what are you most hoping to see in this next one coming up? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on for more videos just like this. That's it for today though. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video. Bye guys!